Today I'm going to show you how you can find out exactly how much your competitors are spending on Google Ads. I'm going to use three different techniques. Each one has a varying level of complexity and also a varying level of accuracy. I'm going to start with the easiest first. So the easiest technique out there is to use one of the generic third-party tools. So I'm going to show you SpyFu today, but there's many of them out there. And what SpyFu does, it allows you to literally enter any competitor's URL, stick in that URL, and it will essentially spit out what they're spending monthly. Now, the limitation of all these third-party tools is that they only have data for certain countries. So if, for example, in SpyFu's case, your country is not listed here, you can't really use this tool. But assuming that's not the case, I'll just kind of illustrate how you use it. You literally stick in your company's or your competitor's URL rather. So I'm just going to use Apple just to illustrate the point here. You click search and it's going to spit out two numbers. One, how much of their traffic comes from organic search and how much of it comes from paid search. So I can see in this case, 99% of Apple's traffic comes from organic search and 1% comes from paid, at least according to SpyFu. And secondly, and this is really what we want to use the tool for, what's their actual spend on Google Ads? So I can see, according to SpyFu, they're spending about $2 million a month. Now, it's important to understand this is made up of two estimated metrics. Metric number one is the number of clicks they're getting from Google Ads. Now, this is fairly accurate, which is why the tool exists, but it's not obviously perfectly accurate. But again, it gives us a starting point to understand what they're spending. And the second estimate, which they're using to get to this final number, is what is the average cost per click? Now, that's probably a bigger variance in terms of accuracy, but putting them together, we get this final number, and it gives us not perfect data, but at least a starting benchmark in terms of how much our competitors are spending. Tactic number two is using actual Google Ads traffic and your own Google Ads traffic, which I'm going to show you now. All right, so just jumping into the back end of our Google Ads campaign, what we're going to do is look at a report called Auction Insights. If you scroll down on the left navigational sidebar, you'll see it here. And when you click it, it will open up a report like this, and it will show you, i.e. your website, against the competitors that you're competing against for very similar keywords. Now, this is an incredibly powerful report and probably the most accurate report of the lot when it comes to identifying exactly the amount your competitors are spending on different keywords, because we know real live data here. And what I mean by that is, let's assume we're spending, just to make the numbers exact, 21,590 Rand a month. I know, because we have 21.59% of the impression share, that the total addressable market in this case for this set of keywords is 100,000 Rand. And because I know what we're spending, I can then ascertain that, again, just assuming those numbers were accurate, that LinkedIn are then spending 10,640 Rand on the same set of keywords. And I can use this tool very powerfully to actually understand not only who's my competitors are in the space, but exactly what they're spending. The only limitation of this tool, I would say, are two things. Number one is if you're looking at a certain array of keywords and it's showing something like this with the impression share less than 10%, it tells us two things. One, it tells us these competitors are advertising on similar keywords. But number two, it doesn't tell us exactly what amount. So we know it's less than 10% and obviously over 0%, but we can't get the exact number. And the second thing which this doesn't tell us, where the limitation is that this only tells us the impression share or what the spend is of our competitors for a certain array of keywords. So I'm looking at a specific campaign to get these results. If I looked at a different campaign which is using different keywords, I'm going to get a different set of results. So it is a bit of patchwork to put it all together, but assuming you can do that if you have enough time to do that, you can get a fairly good understanding, almost to the T, exactly what your competitors are spending on their Google Ads site. All right, and the last method you can use is using one of the SEO tools. Now, the SEO tools have all varying data, so it's interesting to compare a lot of their data and try and average them out and get a final number that you're comfortable with. But pretty much all the SEO tools have a similar type of report that you can generate really in seconds. So you can use anything from SEMrush, which I'm going to show you today, or you can use Ahrefs, or you can use Moz, and the list goes on and on. Pretty much every SEO tool has a Google Ads section and so on. And all you need to do, I'll just kind of go from the beginning. We'll go to click a domain overview. So I've stuck in Apple in this case, again, just to kind of keep it consistent across the board. Then you can have a look at their paid search traffic. And then it'll give you a bit of a summary in terms of what they're doing from an advertising perspective. I can see how many keywords they're bidding on. It says, a little bit over 4,000. I can see their traffic cost a month, so almost 4 million. And I can see how much traffic they're getting from it. And it's really interesting to do this because, one, it's comparing to the first method, we're using a specific Google Ads spy tool to get this data. All the data is fairly different. It's not an order of magnitude different, but it is different. But it is a useful way to kind of compile these all together and get an average, and that'll give you probably close to what the exact final amount is. But out of all three options, these are probably the easiest using really an SEO tool, even over a specific dedicated spy tool like SpyFu, particularly because, and why I like it, is these SEO tools have much greater geographic reach. So just kind of show you, we can have a look at literally traffic and data in any of these countries. Where in the spy tools, they're usually limited to, call it, the big 10 countries from a traffic perspective. But that's three easy ways to figure out what your competitors are spending on Google Ads. I hope that helps, and I hope that helps your campaign and allows you to do better research in the future. Good luck.